Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Hi, you guys. Can you hear me now? So, my God. I got my other computer fixed, the one that I normally go live on, and had it all set up. Everything was fine. And then as soon as I went live, the blue light went off. Okay, so then I'm trying to get it to go on. Can see and hear me. Yay. So as soon as I ended the stream that you guys were all chatting in a minute ago, the blue light came on in the camera. I'm like, like for real. Okay. So I'm just on my phone because, hey, why not? So let me go ahead and grab let me just get into this video here that we're scrolling so I can see I like to see the feed from my computer because then it seems like I can follow the feed a little bit better. I know, yeah, it's like, do I look okay? You know, the camera's coming up. This is a bad angle coming up this way. I like the camera to come down like this. Who are my girls out there, right? Can anybody vouch for me on that one? Yeah. How are you, Paula? Kenny? I saw we had Peaceful Penguin here. So that was nice to see her there for a minute. So hopefully she will be here. And let's see. Let's go here. Thank you so much, Kenny. Hey, Make It by Mandy. How are you? Nice to see you. All right. Okay, great. Yeah, so now, so then if I go like that, yeah, the orientation's locked. I can't do that either. So, yeah. It's all the things out. Yeah, so it's a rainy day. It's been a lazy rainy day. Hey, if you're watching, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button for me. And if you don't mind giving it a quick share out. This is one of those it's you just get it done, right? So I have 2 laptops in front of me and a phone. I have 2 microphones and my camera. I'm like, you think I can get it all done? And then I was going to use my good microphone, but then I didn't have the proper. I have a connector here that goes from here to USB. Oh no, I don't know. It's just all crazy. All right, how's everybody doing? How was the weekend? Everybody have a good time? Good to see you guys. Make It by Mandy. What are you making? You making anything good this weekend? I was unable to get out and do any gardening this week because of the rain. But boy, it's great. We've got it going. Well, Kenny, I have an IT guy. He was here last week and replaced my router. So I have a router that is it looks like Darth Vader now. So it's going to, it's supposedly a lot beefier. So actually, we shouldn't have any processing of any circles happening during this live broadcast. So looking forward to that. So you made some sauerkraut. Yeah. And hey, who's got ideas for squash? I have squash coming out of my ears. And, I used to dehydrate it. I freeze dried some and it just, I don't know, it didn't freeze dry well. It sometimes dehydrates well and sometimes it doesn't. It has a little off-putting flavor. Hey, Lisa D, how are you? Nice to see you. Of the male persuasion. Yeah, Peaceful Penguin, yeah. Does it stink when it's being canned? Does it? Yeah, I haven't, here, I'll show you. I could make a joke here, right? Okay, look at these things they're bigger than my head. Oh my gosh. It's, I put them in I did them in the air fryer tonight. She's at hold on, there you are. Okay, jeez. She's at the store getting dog food for the dog. So hold on, let me swipe up real quick. All right, we're back. Sorry, I've been, yeah, well, no, I had to swipe up to text my daughter. So yeah, that one I did deliberately. Sorry about that, you guys. Yeah, she's at the store. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. That is a yellow crooked neck squash. And it's got the skin's a little tough on it, but so I think I'll peel it next time. It actually turned out really good in the air fryer. I sliced it real thin, put some olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, and a little bit of nutritional yeast on it, and it turned out really good. What is that link? Let's see. What did you send here? Oh, red lentil squash soup. Maybe I'll just blanch it, because, yeah, that would be good. Yeah, throw it into some, and because I do red lentil soup all the time. That's a great idea. Okay, cool. I'll do that. Yeah, I need to, yes, I did grow them. Well, you know what, Mandy? This has been sitting, some of these have been sitting here for a couple weeks just on my counter. But yeah, I think I'll put them over in the laundry room where it's a little darker and cooler. So, but I think these are actually pretty hardy. They're gonna hang out here for a little while. But I did grow my my garden is just booming. I wish I could show you guys the garden. It's the best garden I've had in probably 15, 16 years. It's insane. And I've got these wild hard squash that best squash I ever found. I think I've told you about them. Low water content, and just really sweet hard squash. It's kind of it's green, and then it has this little whitish green top. They're really unusual looking. And I just threw it out there, and the seeds, and it kind of, degraded and then started growing, and it's just growing like crazy. So, but we got good rain going right now, so that's good. My tomatoes, I'm sure by next week I'm gonna have a boatload of tomatoes. So I have to start getting prepped for canning season. So let's see. I learned last night, I think I don't mind green peppers much anymore. Oh, really? So I love all peppers, and I used to love green peppers when I was a kid. And there was something, when I got older, I started to feel like they took over the flavor. When you cook with a green pepper, it's like it just permeates the whole dish. So, so I am not, I'll eat any other bell pepper, but the green peppers aren't so much my favorite. Green ones are your favorite, Mandy? Yeah. Yeah, I used to love them, but I'd eat them raw with salt, Kenny, when I was a kid. My mom would just cut it up like an apple, So yeah, permeates the whole thing. So you have to be a little careful with the green pepper. You know what I do like from a pepper that's green is a poblano. If you haven't cooked with a poblano, those are excellent. So yeah, I actually would eat them on a pizza. So yeah, I have no room for green beans in my life. It's not that I don't like them. I find them flavorless. With all the amazing vegetables in the world, I find green beans a little bit flavorless. So there's plenty of others to choose from. So, So in restaurants, I think I've mentioned this before too. Like, restaurants, that's all they serve is green beans. It's like that's just their easiest go-to, right? Well, I'll tell you what. If I'm growing green beans, which I never do, but if I'm in somebody's garden, if you're growing green beans and I'm in your garden and I see raw green beans growing and I pick them, I'll start eating them just raw. And that's when they're the best. And I'll eat them like that. But other than that, not so much. So let's see. That's a Linda bean for you, Paula. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I hope there's no Lindas on here. Make It by Mandy says, on salad, roasted, stuffed, etc., all colors of bells. Yep. Green beans are on salad. Can't stand cooked beans or peas. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I love like an orange bell pepper and a red bell pepper because I find they have slightly different flavors, and they're sweet, and then they add color, and so you're eating with your eyes, right? So the more colors you can put into a salad, the better. Peas are the devil. I'm not opposed to peas. I just don't think to eat them. Again, it's one of those, I don't know. It's just one of those things I just don't think to eat. Whoever invented the split pea, I love split pea. I make an amazing split pea though. I get I've got the ham hocks, and I just put it in there and I just let it go all day. Tons of carrots, because then I get the sweetness from the carrots, and oh my gosh, tons of sweet onion and garlic. It's amazing. No, Mandy, I love split pea soup. Let's see, what do you rarely eat because they're so full of sugar? I missed that one. Peas? Let's see. Oh, lima beans. Ugh, I know, right? No such thing as amazing split pea soup. There we go. Oh, hey, Idaho Garden Girl. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. So, oh, okay. Yeah. Paula Squared. I make something called lima bean casserole, but I use butter beans. I think you told me about your lima bean. Didn't I make fun of you at some point in time, Kenny, about your lima bean casserole? I can't remember. That's good though. It's a vegetable for you though. I'm very happy for you. I know. I love a good split pea soup. And then not Great Northern bean. So not navy bean. I don't really like navy beans, but I'll do a Great Northern bean soup. So yeah, so Lisa, I mean, most of those legumes they're starchy, so they tend to be a little higher on the glycemic index, but in the grand scheme of things, when you have to start picking and choosing, it's so high in fiber and there's so many nutrients in those legumes that, I'll give the lesson by telling a story. Years and years ago, I was at a wedding with some friends from high school, and my one friend, she wouldn't eat the carrots. It was family style, so we were passing the vegetables around, and she didn't eat carrots. And this was like in the beginning of the whole too many carbs, the whole low carb craze. And she refused to eat the carrots, and she was obsessing about everything that was, carb. And my one girlfriend says, she goes, "It's a vegetable, just eat it." And then of course she ended up having cake at the end of the night. So, we have to start thinking about these things a little bit differently, and that if we're only going by glycemic index and not a nutrient index, I don't know if a nutrient index exists, but we really need a nutrient index to show us, because those the dog eat his food. Well, what's wrong? I know he won't eat his raw food. He goes and he just sniffs it and there we go. Oh my gosh. Hang tight, guys. All right, I'll talk while we're doing this. Yeah, I like, and yeah, everything's amazing with ranch, isn't it, though, right? Oh, no, we have volume. I just stopped talking. I was trying to figure out how to text my daughter from the iPad, but now I have to sign in. Gmail. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, hang tight 1 second, you guys. Yep. Okay. I'm back. Yep, got it. Yeah, so all right. Yeah, I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right. So yeah. So just going back to when you're talking about food, like think about things from a nutrient perspective, and not so much a glycemic perspective. I mean, obviously the glycemic index is important, but if you're giving up carrots, you don't want to eat carrots because they're too high in the glycemic index, but they're incredibly high in nutrients, and they're high in fiber, and they're gonna have a little bit of starch in it, and they're going to have some sugars, some naturally occurring sugars, And those will metabolize much differently than if you just ate, a teaspoon of table sugar. So I wouldn't be afraid of having, soups from any like legumes, because the other thing too is, when you think about it, it's super filling. I mean, you can make it so hearty. When I make my soups, like I say, I put tons of carrots because I do like a background of sweetness in those soups. So I use naturally occurring things. I use a lot of sweet onion. I use a lot of carrots, of course, some garlic, which isn't sweet. But then I put peppers in. I finely chop peppers, red peppers and orange peppers. And that just, really lifts that flavor. I put a poblano in, which is a mild heat. And it's so hearty and so nutritious, and you're not going to eat so much of it that that you're gonna go into a glycemic coma, so, or you're not gonna spike your blood sugar so badly. So don't be afraid of that. That's just my. I think we get into this whole concept of, we're talking about high carb diets or low carb diets, and that in a low carb diet, we're looking for things that are low carb, but not recognizing that, your broccoli and cauliflower and all your vegetables have carbohydrates in them. And it's okay to eat a carrot. When you start making a shift in your dietary patterns and you start eliminating the ultra processed foods, it's okay to eat a carrot. Like, you've gotten rid of the chips and the candy cookies and the cakes and the desserts and all of that. But if you're, and then if you want to have a carrot, like have a freaking carrot. It's not going to be a deal breaker for you. Years ago, I went to a party and we had made butternut squash pie. So basically like pumpkin pie, but made it with butternut squash. Used a little bit of, used a little bit of maple syrup, and I think the crust was made out, I can't remember if I did walnuts or almonds. But anyway, took it to a party, put berries on top. It was absolutely delicious. And from a nutritional perspective, it was highly nutritious because it was butternut squash, and then it was nuts and berries, and then, like I say, just a little bit of maple syrup. Had some eggs in it, so had the protein from the eggs. And I think the recipe is on my website, actually. I think I posted it years ago. And there was a guy there, and he was like, I'm on a low carb diet, and he wouldn't, he refused to have the, he refused to eat, to even try the pie. But then he, went outside and he was smoking, and then he came back in, and he was having some chips, because I don't think he figured that chips were carbohydrates. I think he was only thinking about like sweets and things. So, yeah. Anyway, we have this like really skewed and warped mindset around carbs and fiber and what really is good carbs, what's bad carbs. So, can you guys still see me? I'm looking at let me spin that one right there. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and soups and stews, so great as we come into this, the fall season. I should say that. We're like not even done with summer. I don't want to be done with summer yet. But yeah, it's okay to have those legumes. It's okay to eat those, because if you start thinking about what are you eating in lieu of all of the, what's in your diet that's ultra processed, that then you if you just eliminated that, you'd be able to have these other things just fine. Not a big deal. Where you get into trouble is if you put sugar in you start putting sugars in your sauces and things like that. So I had somebody say to me when I was starting to make my salsa, and they were like, "Did you put sugar in your salsa?" And I said, "No, I use sweet onion." Because if you're pulling it from a natural source, you get, it doesn't taste, it's not heavy on your palate, and it tastes wonderful, and it balances out the flavors. So use food to develop flavor profiles that you're looking for, but, from a healthy realm. So whether it's colors or flavors. Let's see. So Mandy says, you're not done with summer, are you, Lisa? Oh my gosh. It is blasphemy. Yeah, I'm like, listen, I only get 10 weeks really of summer. heat and humidity. I did a yoga class today that about killed me. Holy moly, it was hot, and I think it was close to 100 degrees in there today. It was smoking hot. It was really intense. So I've been drinking my electrolytes and just trying to refuel. Make It by Mandy says, I eat whatever I want or like. It's all about moderation, in my opinion. I don't do fast food, lots of processed food. Yeah. So, and that's how I am. I think if you just, I always say, like, don't go on a calorically restrictive diet. Go on a categorically restrictive diet. So if you can, it was about 100 in there, Kenny. It was crazy. Yeah, exercising in 100-degree heat. So if you can, if you just categorically eliminate foods that aren't healthy for you, then it doesn't matter if you're, I don't know, if I have a sweet potato, right? I'm not afraid of having a sweet potato. So no, it's a yoga, it's called hot vinyasa yoga. So it's a room where they deliberately heat the room. And then when you start exercising, then everybody's body heat intensifies, and they have infrared heat in there too. So it's freaking crazy. It was at the yoga studio. Yeah, it was crazy. It was hot. It was probably one of the hottest ones I've been to. I'm also the crazy girl, though, that when it's hot and humid outside, I'm like, I need to be on my mountain bike. So I thrive in that environment. I am nuts, Paula. I absolutely am. Yeah. So, I love it. I'm like a solar panel. I'm just soaking it all in. And then when winter comes, I dream about hot, humid days. So yeah, it's wonderful. I know. I'm that crazy girl. Yep. So you won't find me complaining about heat or humidity. Avoiding the yoga office. You're not gonna come to yoga with me, Kenny? Yeah, I am certifiable. Yeah, I could be. Yeah. So now that I got you guys on here, we've talked about some vegetables. I want to, the topic that I wanted to talk to you about today was change. And what we do, sweet potatoes are so full of nutrients. And again, people won't eat them because they're high in carbs. But if you start looking at the carbohydrate content, they're almost on par with a regular, like a yellow potato. So they're very, very similar. I wouldn't discount a good sweet potato. Oh, Mandy. Okay, so you're the one complaining about the heat and the cold. So that's what I always tell people. I'm like, you get one season. You can't complain about all of them. You can complain about one, and that's it. So yeah. I could probably convince you to go with me, Kenny. Yeah. I don't know that you'd survive it, though. I know Kenny never stops, does he? I know. I think it'd be pretty easy to get Kenny to go there. We could do that. We could do our peach picking. So let's see. I think it was Paula and who else was going with us? We were gonna go peach picking. We were gonna go, and then we'll go to yoga, and yeah. So just say no to, Kenny says, don't just say no to sweet potatoes. I'll eat sweet potato pie, even though the pumpkin pie edges it out, but not sweet potatoes. Yeah, I've had sweet potato pie. It doesn't impress me. I could convince you to go anywhere with me, Kenny. I'm pretty sure I could. Hey, Kenny, do you want to go to a hot vinyasa class? Yeah. Oh, you've never had sweet potatoes savory? Okay, so here, let me give you what I do with sweet potatoes. I usually oven roast them, but I tried it in the air fryer like this, and it turned out okay, but all my bits that I put on there fell off in the air fryer. So take fresh pressed garlic, not sprinkled garlic, not stuff from the jar. Fresh pressed garlic, and you want to toss it all in a bowl. So slice them like wedge fries, toss them in a bowl with olive oil, some fresh sea salt, and I use the coarse sea salt with some chunky garlic. Add a little bit of cinnamon in there, maybe a little bit of paprika or like a hot spice of some sort, and then throw them onto a cookie sheet at about 400 degrees and cook them for about 15 minutes. And oh my God, it's amazing. And you could throw an herb on there if you wanted to, but they're they're salty, and then you put that spice in there, and then you get the sweet of the sweet potato. It's really good. Okay, so hot vinyasa. Vinyasa. Here. It's vinyasa. Vinyasa. Yoga. There you go. There you go. Who's Vanessa? God, the rain sounds amazing. Okay, so I wanted to talk about change, as we always get into a little bit of a lesson somewhere along the way. So lots of things, so lots of changes. So my daughter's going off to school, so that is what made me think of. She decided to go. I know, it's so beautiful. She decided about a week and a half ago that she wants to go to Arizona to college, and I was like, okay. And she qualifies to go for the fall semester. So, so we're going to head out to Arizona in a couple weeks. And I'm moving her out there for college. And it's super exciting. And she's super nervous. And it's going to be a change for her. It's going to be a change for me. I know. Isn't that exciting? It's really, really cool. She had applied to Michigan State. And she said, well, I kind of feel like that would be high school 2.0. And she found this small Christian college out in Arizona, and I know she might. We're not telling her. I don't think she's figured that out yet. Yeah. And so she's doing it anyway. She's scared to freaking death, but she's doing it anyway. And I think she's going to do so much better in a smaller school environment. And so the interesting thing is, and I think about when I went off to chiropractic college. And I didn't know a soul. I went to live with my dad in California when I went to chiropractic college. And well, she knows it's hot. I don't think she knows it's as hot as it actually is there. So we're not telling her. So she has a friend that goes there. And ironically, I mean, this is crazy, crazy stuff, you guys. So ironically, so this friend who goes there, he lives here, and he was telling her about it. She says, that place sounds cool. She qualified for some scholarship money because of her grades that she got from her first year at community college. And so I was out on the lake yesterday. Some friends of mine had a party, and I'm out floating and, talking to some friends, and we linked up with some other ladies who were on floats, and we're just talking, blah, blah, blah. This lady says, I'm moving my son out to Arizona to go to college in a couple weeks. And I was like, what? And I said, where's he going? And she tells me, I'm like, oh my gosh, my daughter's going there. And I said, what's your son's name? And she tells me, and I'm like, this is the friend. So I randomly floated and met this friend's mother on the lake yesterday. Like, if that doesn't tell you that the universe is going to be taking care of her and me and us, and just providing all these amazing things. I'm like that was zero coincidence, right? So she's gonna be fine. And I think of when I moved to California, and I only knew my dad, and I knew a few people out there. I have some friends through our church out there, but it was scary. It was super scary, and I did it anyway. So when there's change, we're so afraid of change because it feels so different and it feels so foreign, and it takes away the things that we know and love. It takes away our routines. We have to establish new routines. We have to meet new people. We have to do new things. We have to, let go of old habits. But you do it anyway. You do it anyway because you know that by doing it, there's going to be a greater reward. So I had a couple of things in talking about that. And this is what I'm thinking about with her, so she's going to be out there. She's doing it anyway. And then, for me, I'm going to be here, and my routine will be a little bit different. I don't see her much because she's a teenager, but it'll be a little bit different. We won't be able to go out to dinner, and we'll, just be a little, the vibe will be different, right? So her energy won't be here. And so it'll be, the house will be clean. Let's just say that. Did I say that out loud? I said that out loud. So anyway, Kenny says, an ex of mine lives there and tells me it's well over 100 days a year with 100 plus temps. Yeah, I know. Isn't that some crazy coincidence? Kenny, you said it's your ex. I'm like, I want to make a joke on that one. Like she had to go that far away to get, like she's putting up with the heat just to get away from you. Did that? You did say that out loud. It's a dry heat. Right, P squared. If I had that kind of dry heat, I'll stay home, stick my head in the oven. That's so funny. You said that out loud. Paula says, I managed retirement communities before I retired. Change is so hard for them. Yeah, and change is really hard for the elderly because of the confusion that they get into. So, so a couple of things, when we talk about, change can be like the most common changes, life changes are relationship changes. So getting into one, getting out of one, moving if you have to move. So, moving home. So let's say you buy another house. Well, you got the stress of moving. That's a big change. You don't really want to, you don't feel like moving. It's a lot of work, but you know that there's going to be something better on the other side. You get into your new home, you get into your new community. You just caught that, Kenny. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. That was mean. I take it back. I love you. So I can't imagine. So let's see. So relationships, relocating, jobs, and then education, moving for school. Health challenges are a big change. So, health challenges, and that's really is the basis of everything that we talk about here, that we try to teach, is that health challenges, a lot of people will wait until they get sick and then they have to change because they're so afraid of change. Prior to that, they're so afraid of change that they won't take action to make the changes necessary to prevent them from being sick. So then they get sick and then they have to change. They have a heart attack or they get cancer or, they have some kind of autoimmune issue and they go into crisis, and then then they're like freaking out, and then it's crisis mode and they've got to create change then. So now they're forced to change. So change comes in a variety of ways in our lives. And so this is my second big change in a year. So I was in a 10.5 year relationship, and that ended abruptly last year. And that was a huge change for me. Kind of came out of nowhere. So there was a lot of things that I had to do. I had to, and I have some things that I wrote down here, but, really just having faith is that's one of my big, rocks, things that I hold on to are faith and prayer, knowing that there's going to be something better on the other side. And oftentimes, and I think this is one of the things with change, whether it's a relationship or a job or a move or school or a health challenge, whatever it is, when we're in the moment and something hits us like that and we're forced to make a change, oftentimes we can't see a resolution. So give me a thumbs up in the comments if this has happened to you, where you're like, something's happened to you and you were like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you were confused and you were sad and you struggled and you didn't know what to do. And that'll go on for a little bit, but if you're ever in that place, you have to have an open mindset. You have to have an open mindset and trust that the answers will come to you. And, there's a saying, right? Time heals all wounds. So when it's something that's emotional, and I don't particularly think that time heals all wounds. Our wounds are our wounds. They go deep, right? So we just figure out how to manage them. If time healed all wounds, we would be able to forget that and go on la-di-da. And I don't think we'd ever learn from it. And I don't think we'd ever have, growth from it. So we have to consider, so Lisa and Paula giving me the 100% and the thumbs up. Yeah. So you're in that moment and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you're in mental crisis mode. And so it's having that faith, it's having that open mind that the right answers are going to come to you. And I think that's where, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, just getting quiet, journaling, having some outlet, some way to be able to, display your feelings, or, again, whether you're writing them down, whether you're meditating on them, whether you're praying them, whatever it is that you're doing that allows you to free your mind of some of the heaviness of the things, so then you can find the solutions that are going to help you to be able to move forward. Yeah, so Kenny says, I agree 100%. Time does not heal everything. You have to learn how to move on. You really do. Yeah, and I don't know where that, I don't know that as I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and I was thinking about change, because with my daughter leaving, I was like, oh, this would be like perfect and timely. And I thought about that whole time heals all wounds things. And it's like, that's so, like, who came up with that? Like, that's, and that, okay, so if you cut your arm or your finger, yeah, time's going to heal that. But we carry our traumas, you know. I know a lot of you, you know, like me, like, we're human. Things have happened in our lives, and we carry those traumas. And you know, the most important thing, though, is that you have to not allow yourself to be pulled back into any negativity of that. So it's really about having that open mind, having a mindset of optimism, and you know that something better is going to come along. And we all know, and we'll go to another cheesy saying, is that, you know, there's always a silver lining, right? And there really is always a silver lining. So whether you're still feeling any emotional angst or pain, or you haven't quite gone through what you need to get through, having faith in the fact that there will be a silver lining, that's a big deal. And the other piece of that is always, always, always keep your mind and your heart open for the solutions, because when you least expect it, the solutions will find you. And I know that, you know, like I said, you know, floating on the lake and running into a woman whose son told my daughter about this school, and now she's going, like, that is being open. That is, you know, God putting me at the right place at the right time to say to me, your daughter's going to be just fine, right? So being open, staying open to signs, people, you know, symbols, events, just anything in your environment, in your world, keeping an open mind that everything's going to be okay. The solution will find you, and there will be a better way out. So yeah, so I'm going to scroll back up here. Idaho Garden Girl says, I've always been okay with change, moving to a new state, and the hard work of packing up, and then finding new doctors, dentists. Yeah, that's a stressful thing, right? You have to hope that you find somebody a good hairdresser, right? And you do learn how to cope. Yep. And the answers do come, and we have to be patient, right? So we have to be very patient that those answers will come, you know, and find us, and or that, you know, we'll figure it out. But yeah, patience is probably the hardest thing, right? So yeah, I think like every day during you know, probably last year for months, I just kept praying, and I was like, okay, just like take the pain away. Like I needed to move beyond the pain. So that was a big one. That was a pretty big one. So this will be different, you know, with my daughter going. It'll be a heartache, but I'm super proud of her. So Kenny says, and like I told you once, whatever you're going through, you'll eventually let go of, at least to an extent. Yeah, because you figure out how to navigate around it. One day you'll realize you haven't thought about whatever it is. I love that. I really love that. Where you kind of go, oh shoot, and you wake up from it almost, right? Idaho Garden Girl says, sometimes trying to hang on to a situation just becomes misery. Better to know that the answers will come, right? Yeah, just you know, that's why I love journaling. You know, and I'll tell a lot of my patients to do this as well when they have something really heavy on their mind, especially right before you go to bed. Write everything down, because what you're doing is, and this is like not even, this could go for anything. This could go for, you know, let's say you've got a lot going on in your work life or in your life in general, and you've got a lot of things that need to get done. You're working on projects or something. Write it all down, because what it does is it gives your brain a permission. So write it down when you go to sleep, because it gives your brain permission to turn off. It gives your brain the opportunity to say, okay, that's on paper now, so we won't forget, and so we'll be able to relax. That's the reason that a lot of people get these chattery thoughts at night, is because you're what's up here isn't anywhere solidified, and you're trying to remember it all. So, that can also go true to if you can't sleep properly, or if you can't sleep and you're waking up and you get up in the middle of the night and you got something just chattering on your mind. Write it down. Keep a journal next to your bed and write it down, and then you go back into bed, and I promise you'll be able to fall right back asleep. So let's see. Kenny says, and you'll know that you've reached a crossroads. Yes, for sure. Once you make the realization that you stop thinking about it, it cannot rule your actions. It can't, right? So you have to get up. You have to go and move every day. And there's a saying, just act as if, right? So you have to believe it. You have to act as if whatever the thing is going to happen. Act as if the answers are going to find you. Act as if, like, let's say you wanted to move and you couldn't find a house or whatever, and that would be stressful. And you want to move out of state, or you had to move out of state. You're getting a new job, or so that could be something too, where you're just like, act as if you're trying to sell your house, and act as if the buyer is coming tomorrow. Act as if, your realtor is going to call you tomorrow and you're going to find your new home. So you have to really like put those things in like pieces of a chessboard, put them into play, and act as if they're already happening. And oftentimes that's just the energy you need for the things to flow into your life. And sometimes it's the thing you need to get things to flow out of your life. So Kenny says, I think sometimes we hold on to things because we're afraid to let go of whatever it is. And we're afraid we'll lose it somehow. And we're afraid of the change of it, right? So that's actually a really good point, is that for us, as humans, not wanting to let go of things. Like we're happy with where it's at. We figured out how to deal with it where it's at, because we're too afraid of what it would look like if we let it go, right? So that's a really good one. I think that's really good, like in relationships, right? We hold on to the wrong relationships for far too long because they're status quo, and we're like, well, this is good. It's good enough. It's fine. I was watching Ted Lasso last night. Anybody watch Ted Lasso? Give me a thumbs up if you do. What a great show. And Rebecca, the CEO of the soccer team, and I thought about this because I have a friend of mine who's in a relationship, and we were hanging on her boat a couple weeks ago and talking about, him, and she said, it's fine. It's fine. They've been together a couple years, and she kept saying, it's fine. And I go, fine? I go, you're okay with fine? She's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. And so there was this whole scene last night in, I forget which episode it was. It's in season 2. You are soaking wet, mister. Oh my gosh, it's pouring rain out there and he's soaking wet. And she goes on a double date with this new guy, with Keely and Roy fucking Kent. If you'll get it if you've watched the show. And so, and they come out, and her date leaves, and her and Keely are talking about, well, what'd you think? And she's like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, he's nice. He checks all the boxes. And Roy Kent says, he goes, fine. He goes, what do you mean fine? And he went on this whole rant about fine, and you're better than fine, and don't settle for fine. And he went, and so I had to go find that and record it and send it to my girlfriend, because I think that goes for any part of our lives, and really evaluating that if things are just fine, if there's whether it's your relationship, whether it's I don't know, and it could be a relationship with a coworker or just a friend or, a spouse, but if it's just fine, then step into it and create the change that needs to be fixed before the bottom falls out, because that's typically what happens. And then when the bottom falls out, then it's like, oh, shoot, right? And then you don't see it coming. So when you have the opportunity to fix it and you try to fix it and then you can't fix it, and then you part ways, that's a whole different story. That's much easier to deal with that change because you know you gave it your all in that situation. So let me go up here. Yeah, even if we already lost it, Kenny. Yeah, so you're denying, like we go, in denial that we don't admit that we've lost it. Lisa says, when I go to bed and it's still worrying in my mind, I pray to God to take over because I know sleep is so important. Right. And then write it down, because also you're going to want to remember whatever it is, or, just get that thought off your mind, right? Write it down, pray about it, give it over, and then fall asleep. Kenny says, writing things down is always a good thing. Writing makes such a connection in your mind. It really does. And writing, not typing. It's the act of writing that really connects neural pathways to your brain and the things that it can remember, versus just typing something. That's a very different neural pathway. You're less likely to remember it than if you, I can't imagine if I were in school today, when I go to seminars, I guess seminars would be a similar thing. When I go to seminars, I still keep a journal. I still write my notes when I'm in a seminar. There are a lot of people who come and they have their laptops and they type on their laptops. And boy, I couldn't do that. I mean, that would be, I just don't think I'd remember it. So I like to write, and I like to make notes in the margins, and then I like to go back and I like to dog ear the pages, and I like to highlight things. I like to put arrows and, keep lists. And to me, that just works much better for the brain than typing. Let's see. Lisa D says, especially when it comes to my children, as much as I love them, I know he loves them even more. Yeah. Kenny says, what's difficult is you can know all the things we're saying, but you don't feel you can put them into action. Right. I know. And isn't it? It's so much easier for somebody else to tell you than it is, let's just say it's easier for you to tell someone else what they need to do than it is for you to implement that for your own life. Isn't that like human nature? Right. I have all the answers. I could totally tell you what to do. You think I'm doing them all for myself though? Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. Because we as humans have a hard time, one hell of a time letting go. Even if it's gone, we're afraid we might erase it from memory. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a fiercely loyal human. It's a blessing and a curse all at the same time. I'm a great friend. When I'm in relationship, I'm in relationship. I'm loyal. I'm fiercely loyal. So yeah, I have a hard time letting go. I usually, historically in my life, which, recognizing these things doesn't make me necessarily put it into practice, but I have to recognize that I cannot compromise myself for the sake of that loyalty. Like I have to override the loyalty. So yeah. And that was the hard thing. So, my previous partner after 10 and a half years, just like exited my life. And so I was like, wow, he just completely deleted me from his life, like vaporized me. It was very, very hurtful. It was interesting because I still don't understand it. I'm have a much easier time with it. But I'll never understand it because I don't think any of us as humans deserve that kind of treatment. So, so those are the memories I walk away with, or the traumas, right? So you have to think about, what's the memory you're going to walk away with? Again, whether it's a relationship or a job or any kind of life change. Lisa D says, I'm a worrier. I realized recently that 80% or more of the stuff that I've worried about in my life has not come to fruition. Isn't that crazy? So years ago, anybody know who Wayne Dyer is in the feed here? Wayne Dyer was just one of my absolute favorite people. Way back when, my mother, oh gosh, I guess that light was lighting my face, wasn't it? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. When I was growing up, my mom had Wayne Dyer books. Assert Yourself was one of the books he had, And so my mom, she'd always say when I was growing up, assert yourself, assert yourself. And, Wayne Dyer was just amazing. And I've seen, had the pleasure of seeing him speak multiple times. And he had, when, he talked about worrying, right? And he said there's two types of worriers, or two things in life that we worry about. There are things that we can't do anything about. And if we can't do anything about them, then why are we worrying? Why are we spending our bandwidth worrying? Like, we can't do anything about it. And then the other flip side of that is things we can do something about. So if we can do something about whatever the thing is, then why are we worrying? So, his whole process, or his whole premise, was that we have nothing to worry about, because either we can do something about it, and that's a solution-based thing that we can do, or we can't do anything about it. We can certainly have compassion if there's a boat that capsizes over halfway around the world, but we can't do anything about it. So, why are we going to worry about it? Now, I understand, I get that whole concept, right? I think it's a good concept to keep in mind, because I think we worry about more things than we should. But then, you think about 9/11. Who wasn't glued to their television 24/7 for, what seemed like weeks, maybe months, and that constant concern, right? It was like worry, what's going to happen next? So there's definitely things that on the outside. Did the chairman come in? I see him on my phone. Hey, chairman, how are you? Thanks for being here. So I think it's good in some layers of practice to ask yourself, can I do something about this? Can I not do something about it? And so, and where it falls in that level of importance of letting it go, right? Or as a friend of mine says, we don't have to let things go, because that, again, I think that gives that feeling of, the releasing of things. And sometimes we can't release things. We're not ready to release, but can we let it be? And if you can let things be, then you can find peace with it. And to me, when I started to think about things like that, I started to think it was more of, I could let things be rather than I can let it go. Because to me, letting things go, that's a time issue, and that is an unknown amount of time. But you can definitely let things be on a daily basis, whether it's, thoughts, sadness, or, any concern, any of those things. So, let's see. Kenny says, OMG, don't mention things with coworkers. I got one hell of a story about this past week for you when you've got the time. Okay, that sounds good. Yep, you're spot on with the difference between actual writing and typing. It's a huge difference for sure. Yep, writing is better than typing for me too. Paula asks, are you asking me if I'm a Pisces? I'm a Virgo. So, and Kenny says, boy, you and I are exactly alike. We're crazy loyal and just have such a hard time letting go. It is. And then we get hurt. We get hurt deeply because we went to the mat, right? You're like, I'll go to the mat for people that I love and, that I want in my life. So, yeah, look at that. Idaho Garden Girl is also fiercely loyal. Yeah, blessing and a curse, I feel like I'd rather take it though, right? I'd prefer to be fiercely loyal than, I feel like the flip side of that is superficial and surface level. So I like going deep with people, really prefer that. And Idaho Garden Girl, yes, Wayne Dyer, he was the best. And there's Chairman waving to everybody. Kenny says, you don't deserve that kind of treatment. You probably won't ever understand the why, but what matters is that, like I said, one day you'll wake up and that will be the day it doesn't cross your mind. Yeah, and I appreciate those thoughts. Yeah, so I'm still waiting for that day, oddly enough. Clearly I'm better though, right? So, yeah, it was a really difficult time. And I was here. I still showed up for you guys. Because I had, this was my this was what brought me joy. This is what, I mean, it's actually, let's see, I started my YouTube channel years ago, but I didn't really start pouring into it probably until about September of last year. And that really brought me joy. It brought me peace. It gave me purpose. I have a private group on Facebook. I go live on there every week as well, every Monday, and usually do the same topic because it's a different audience. But yeah, it just gave me purpose, right? So find things that give you purpose while you're trying to go through the process. By the way, this I realize I'm like doing this bobbing thing because I'm like playing tug of war with the dog over here. So yes, Virgos unite. Are you Virgo, Kenny? You guys like that? That was good, huh? Let's see. Yeah, Virgos unite. Paula's a loyal Pisces. Lisa says, you are wise, Dr. Paula, mind, body, soul. Thank you. I appreciate it. She enjoys listening. And I appreciate you being here so much. Kenny says, the day will come, my queen. I promise you. I swear, Kenny, I love you so much. I'm just reaching out and giving you such a virtual hug. You're the best. September 2nd. Oh, yeah, Virgos, right. We have birthdays coming up. Yes. He is so sweet. Yep, my boy Bentley. So I remember years and years ago, I heard this story. I don't even know why or how, but things that yeah, right here, Kenny. Yep, you got a little special spot in my heart. Okay, listen, you guys, I've told Kenny's story a couple of times, but Kenny reached out to me on social media, and then I'll tell you the story about the canoe and the oars. Kenny reached out to me on social media. I don't know, what was it? It's been a couple years now, hasn't it? I think. And you guys, I get a lot of dudes creeping up on me on social media. If you have 0 friends in common, or you have 1 friend in common, and I go to your page and there's nothing there and I can't see it, because I will stalk you if you friend request me. And if I see nothing, I will immediately delete you and then block you from my page. But there was something about, I don't know, there was something about Kenny, and he started following me around. He was super supportive. And I don't know, I was like, this guy doesn't seem like a creeper. And he sent me a private message, and I was like, he could be a creeper, but I'm not getting creeper vibes. And then here we are 2 years later. We've never met in person, but he's just, right? So it's been a couple of years, and he's just super supportive of, so he's, in the community where my business is. And so it's always wonderful to have somebody, have people in the community like Kenny and other people. And Paula is also within the community, who just, love and support on you. And then you're seeing those same people all the time. So it's like my raving fans. And I love you guys so much. So thank you. So that's Kenny's story. So Kenny did not get deleted or blocked, right? So he's proven himself not to be a creeper. So it's good. So I heard this story years ago, and it talked about change in our lives. And I talked about our lives are like, imagine, we're in a canoe. And we have multiple oars, and each oar represents a different part of our lives. Whether it's, a spouse, or your kids, or your job, or, just in general, like all the different facets of your life. We have these, we have an oar for each part of that. So let's say you have a new baby, that's another oar that gets added. Or now, my daughter's going to school. So for her, she's going to add an oar. And for me, one of my oars is going away. So life becomes a matter of our oars balancing us in the water. And that when we lose things or gain things in life, it's either losing an oar or gaining an oar, and we get into turbulent waters. And so things will be a little topsy-turvy for a little while until we figure out, maybe we don't add a new oar in. Maybe we just take the oars that we have and we figure out how to balance them and calm the waters around us. And so this is like this constant, it's a constant, I don't even want to call it a battle or a struggle. It's just what we do in life. It's just part of our lives, is that there's this constant ebb and flow. There's a constant rebalancing of our oars because things change. And I think we don't like change because things feel turbulent when we get into something of change. And so just remember that. Think about, how do I balance these things out? Having your open mindset, rebalancing the oars, knowing that once you just rebalance some of the other things in your life, you're going to be able to calm the turbulent waters around you, and things will be calm again. So that was my oar story. I might have, I might have even heard that at a funeral, right? I feel like that was, I went to a funeral for somebody, and just the loss of a friend, and that made a lot of sense to me. That we're always going to have turbulent times. We just have to figure out how to rebalance it. So, okay, so Kenny says, I'm going to be honest, I saw a photo of her and had to say hello, or I'd forever kick myself. Wasn't that great? He just was bold and just did it. When I saw that pic, I thought, oh my gosh, she is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in the entire world. You're going to embarrass me, Kenny. You're so sweet to talk about me at all. Well, you're so fun and engaging on here, so we just love having you on here. So I just had to know who Paula is, and saying hello was one of the best decisions I ever made, right? So I love that lesson of just reaching out, because the other thing too that Kenny did is, I know the oar story is outstanding, which I'll tell you about Kenny in a second. Hold on. Speaking of new babies, my daughter had her gender reveal yesterday. We're expecting a sweet little granddaughter. Add an oar to the canoe on January 24th. Awesome. Yes. Congratulations, Lisa. Everybody give Lisa a hand clapping in the comments there. Fabulous. That's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, so Kenny recognized something. It's a Kenny night, I know. But I think there's so many lessons around this story too, because so Kenny recognized that I was going through something. Now, I feel like I come on here and not that I want to hide things, but I come on here for you. So I want to be my best self. I'm, bringing the best parts of me. Again, it brings me joy. It gives me purpose to be able to bring a lesson to you guys. But he saw something. Like he reached out to me and he just said, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Whoa!" Like how? Was I showing the chink in my armor, right? And quick sidebar, that a lot of us who teach, a lot of us as healers, nobody asks us if we're okay, because we're constantly pouring into everybody else, and we're constantly working to heal other people. But Kenny wasn't the only one. It was interesting. But Kenny was one. I remember every single person who reached out to me and just private messaged me and said, "Hey, are you okay?" And literal, like, not just friends, but perfect strangers like Kenny, who I consider a friend now, but people who I'm just acquaintances with on Facebook, who I've never met before, but just saying, "Hey, I see you, and just know that you're loved and supported." And so to me, that was really, it was such a lesson. And again, this is all about change, Kenny. You're not hijacking anything. You're doing, this is great. Because what I love about it was because, so pay attention to people around you, because change is not just about us. It's about everybody around you too. Everybody's going through something. And so the lesson again, Kenny says, "God bless social media, because in real life I would probably never approach you because I'd be far too intimidated by your beauty." I swear to God, you make me cry. You probably would approach me. I think you would. But again, the lesson is pay attention to people around you, pay attention to your friends and your family. And whether something feels off or not, just always check in. Hey, are you doing okay? Because I think, we're all just trying to do our best and get through life, and especially coming through a pandemic, and we're all still trying to navigate whatever BS is going on out there. And that it's so important to have somebody just stop and say, hey, are you okay? My friend who had the party yesterday, she's having some health issues. Well, she looks really great from the outside, and we had walked into the house to get something, and I just looked at her and I said, and how are you doing? And she was like, she didn't do the whole, I'm great. Like, she did none of that. She was like, well, and she went into, we've been doing this and this and this, and, I getting my energy back, and I'm so glad I could be here to have, feel good to have the party. So, so stop and ask people. So whatever change you're going through, and listen, I was full on admitted. I told my friends flat out, I was like, listen, I was like the worst friend for 6 months because I couldn't think about anyone but myself, period. Because it was like, it was the only place my bandwidth could go. So, I have a lot of, and my friends understood, right? But I feel like, I have to make up for that. Now I like had to just focus on me, and now I can take that energy and I can help other people, and I can, just look at them and say, hey, what do you need? Do you need a shoulder? Do you need an ear? What do you need? Do you need just words of affirmation? Do you need, I don't know, whatever, a friend. So again, so many, we're just going to call them Kenny lessons. Maybe we'll just write a book and call it Kenny lessons. So, he's a very supportive human. Kenny says, I know P squared. Yeah. So it's great. P squared. Just know that, people don't come here for me. That's so funny. Yes, they do. Thank you, Lisa. She's beautiful inside and out. Oh, I don't know. Maybe if we already had contact of some sort, I would, but I have to muster up some big courage to walk up and say hello. You guys are so sweet. Paula says, here's something I can't change. I just finished cutting up raw chicken. I can't stand to touch it or smell it. God, I must love my husband. Oh my gosh, what a wonderful wife you are. And how is your husband? Is he doing better? I think the last time you were on here, he was on his way to the hospital or something. Yeah, I know, good or bad times. So I hope we hope he's doing well. Yeah. So, that's hilarious. I'm just kind of looking for Paula's answer on her hubby. So anyway, we're sending good vibes to Paula. Raw chicken and all. So, all right, you guys, he's well. It was a medication mix up. Medication mix. Okay. Yeah. So again, what's the lesson there? Try to just do everything in your life to not end up on medications, because boy, that's the kind of thing that can happen, right? So yeah, we are very glad they figured it out for you. So perfect. All right, you guys, we have been on 68 minutes. Super fun, great conversation about change, and just taking care of yourself through those things and having a positive mindset, rebalancing your oars. We have to just keep that in mind. And then, Lisa D, we're going to support her, and we're going to be looking forward to hearing all about her new Is this your first grandbaby, Lisa D? Is it the first one? Yeah, I know the end is imminent, isn't it? I know. I'm going to go watch a movie, right? It's every time I get off with you guys, I'm like, I got some really delicious watermelon. So I feel like having some watermelon for dessert, and I'm going to just snuggie up and watch a movie. So, Lisa D says, thank you so much, Dr. Paula. So happy to have spent time with you. Insight is awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. I couldn't do it without you. I'd be here all by myself, you guys. So, again, thank you so much, you guys. Thanks, Idaho Garden Girl. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week. So in like 3 Sundays, I think it's 3 Sundays, but I'll give you a heads up. I don't know what the status is, if I'll be able to go live, because I'll, be in Arizona. So, okay, you guys, love you all. Mwah. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you all so much, and appreciate you all being patient as I figured out how to get online today. Okay. All right. Have an amazing Sunday night and an incredible week, you guys. See ya. Bye.